Thanks for checking out our channel. This is going to be a little how to repair video on an old style Gallagher M800. This particular unit is a 2001 model, so it's about 21 years old from when it was built. They started making this model called the BEV3 back in the mid-late 80s. In the early 90s they came out with the M800 sticker. They kept that around to about 2005 or so, 2006, when they discontinued this model, and they came out with newer model later on. So we're going to go through this and see what's wrong with it, see if we can get it going for the customer. Tools you're going to need if you want to work on this, go along for the ride with it, is you're going to need a couple flat screwdrivers to get it apart, a pair of wire strippers, a pair of side cutters, a pair of needle nose pliers, maybe a soldering iron, a solder sucker if you want to use that, or a desoldering braid, whatever you want to use. And some miscellaneous little things. But we're going to take this funny looking screw off the front here. Take that off first. The note on it, see, it has anything on it. It says doesn't have anything what's wrong with it, so we won't plug it in yet. I'll just do some initial tests on some stuff, and then we'll see what's wrong on the inside. So now you'll take two flat screwdrivers. There's a little tab here on top. Inside there's kind of like a little catch. Put your one flat screwdriver, got some bending wire on there. Put in the center there, lift up on your handle, which pushes the tip of your screwdriver down. And I just go down over here on the back side, push it apart a little bit. Just grab it and pull it apart. Alright, so the first thing I saw when I opened it up was this part right here was blown, which is a 420 volt MOV. And when this blows, this little thermal cutout right here blows. So usually this blows first. This little black thing under that clip there, that blows first. And if it's a worse enough short or a surge, then this will go second. So when this goes, you know this is gone. So we'll have to replace both those little parts there, and that will square that away. But we'll check this capacitor as well. So we're going to turn our meter on to capacitance setting, which is on this meter is a Fluke 115. On that meter, this little yellow symbol above my finger is a symbol for a capacitor. So this particular one is probably a 40 microfarad. I think it is. We'll pull the clamp off there. It's a 40 microfarad capacitor. Now there's no polarity to the capacitor, so let's go across it. There's 35.2. That's close enough. It's not weak enough to deem to change it, so we'll leave that alone. We'll do an ohms check across the primary side and secondary side of the transformer. Primaries on these don't go bad that often, but it should be between 0 and 1 ohm, so we'll put the ohms, and we're getting 0.2. On the top side across the output terminals of the transformer should be about 11. Reading 13. But let's pull this board off. Sometimes these little protector things will get some of their resistance will bleed into the transformer. So we'll go, whoops. My battery pack cover's a little loose. Okay, it's a different meter. Switch this over to ohm, which is a little horseshoe symbol, and we'll go across the two tabs here. We're about to say about 14 ohms, so this transformer might have an issue. Usually they're around 11, but maybe there's been some variants and changes on them towards when they made these things. But this board physically looks okay. This is your output protection board. Usually what goes wrong with these diodes will go bad, or these little blue things will go bad. And they've made about 5 or 6, 7 different versions of this board here. This is just your lightning protection boards, all it really does. And if this board goes bad and you can't find these or replace these things on there, you actually don't need this board to make this unit run. All it does, besides lightning protection, it takes the power from your transformer, sticks it into these two tabs there, which then spits it out to your terminals on your fence and ground. And also it has this little resistor right here. This is your voltage divider resistor. It kind of bleeds it down for your half power, which this does have the yellow half power terminal. 99% of people never use that stupid half power terminal. But if this board ever goes bad, what you can do, these are just 1/4 inch male spades on these transformers. What you can do is take you don't need a very big wire, like 16 gauge wire works just fine, 14, whatever you got. You can crimp on one of those, one of these female 1/4 inch spade connectors, plug it onto those tabs there, crimp the wire on there first, and then run that wire. And this does not have a polarity on the transformer. It doesn't matter which tab goes to which terminal, but you can hardwire it. You can either put on top. If it's too tall and the case won't shut, you can actually, there's tabs underneath right here. You can actually plug it on to one of these, because all this is all connected to one common spot, and this is all one common connection there. So you can put this one there, or this one there, or this. It doesn't really matter. There's no polarity to the transformer. Okay, so let's get this board fixed up. There could be more wrong than just those two little parts, but that's the easiest things to check, easiest things to replace. Let me get the solder sucker out, and we'll turn it over here, and we'll get these two first. This is for a thermal cutout. Okay, we'll go over here and get these two. A little bit more on this one. And we'll go over here and we'll pull these off. And we'll pull this little metal clip off, and then we'll pull that off. And these components are easily obtainable. They're nothing special. What model? So we'll put that in there. Trying to get this little clip to go back over the top. Okay, and spread it apart just a little bit. Let's got that on there. And we'll take this little MOV. There's no polarity to that. Plug that in. Solder them on. The green light bulb looks like it's in good shape. It's not burned out, so we don't have to worry about replacing it. And we'll take our snips and we'll snip off the extra bit we don't need. Oh, it's just, yeah. Okay, we might have some parts on hand for that. Line it up, push it in there. We'll go ahead and put this board back on top. We're going to do, besides testing the voltage and making sure it puts out good, we'll also do a ground fault test on it. Now what should happen, if it's working right, this light should come on green, flash. That's your power light. This light should flash with every click. This is your kind of your output light. If it's got volts, if this is lighting up, you got at least 3,000 volts turning that light on. So there's that. And then we'll test across. This has a factory transformer in it, so it should be right around 7-ish, between 6 and 7 on average. Seven on the dot. All right, now we're going to do the ground fault test. I got it plugged into my outlet dedicated to that. Take this wire, we're going to go across the ground. And if this has a fault in the transformer, this light will go out and it'll get a lot louder with this pulse. We'll hear just to see. Should do the same thing. Alright, yeah, this unit's working fine. Let's just do a little spark jump, see what kind of spark it throws. Yeah, this unit's done, ready to go. So we'll set off the side, let it run for a little bit. But if you've got one of these old Gallagher fence chargers like us to take a look at, I'd be happy to take a peek at it for you. These are real good old school units. Be happy to take a look at it for you. We work on a lot of these old Gallaghers. We brought a lot of them back from the dead. You can almost rebuild almost anything inside these things. You can repair the boards. You don't really need this board, but those can be fixed. Capacitors are easily available. Transformers have been discontinued for like 10 years, but there's other transformers you can stick inside here, no problem. Some are Gallagher made, some are other brands, but they bolt up and modify some things sometimes, but it bolts right in just fine. Alright, well, until next time, see you guys later on and have a good day.